Welcome to Next Up Premiere. I'm Marlon Gordon, and
I'm Brianna Gustafson.
And today we are joined by AmTab and Scott Anderson.
You may know AmTab as they've appeared on several NxtGen network productions.
They have. Let's go ahead and let's bring them out. How you guys doing? Welcome to the show.
Doing great. Thanks for inviting us. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and we'll take some seats and get some introductions.
All right, sounds good.
So good to have you guys back.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So let's start from the center.
All right, Scott Anderson, Food Service Director in Madison County, Kentucky.
The Scott Anderson.
I am the Scott Anderson, yes.
Okay, from Madison?
Madison County, Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm James Stoll, Education Partnerships Manager at AmTab Manufacturing.
And I'm Eve Whitmore. I'm the manager for the interior design team at AmTab Manufacturing.
All right, and how do you guys know each other?
Well, I'll take it from there. I was looking at redesigning my cafeterias. And so when I was reaching out to different companies, I came across AmTab. And it just worked out to be a very good fit for our schools.
That's awesome. At what point did you know that something needed to be done in your cafeteria to give it some life?
Well, kids eat with their eyes. And so we started working on the food, made our food the best it could be, and then you've got to look somewhere else. And so the cafeteria was just dull. It looked like a prison. And we really wanted to give the kids an experience where they were coming in, making friends, but they could talk about the cafeteria and just make some great connections.
So what you're saying is you built a cafeteria dining space to mimic the high quality meals that you serve.
We did. We wanted an upscale restaurant type feel. We wanted it to be rewarding for the kids. We wanted them to be excited to come to the cafeteria for lunch.
So now real quick, you're known for being crazy innovative, obviously with the furniture, that's why you're here with AmTab, but your recipes too. This real quick, tell me some of the cool things you guys are serving or planning on serving.
Well, over the last couple of weeks, we've done duck soup, rabbit stew. We served frog legs just the other day. Lots of innovative things. I want our food to be gourmet, and our furniture definitely added to the scenery.
So what kind?
Oh,
No,
sorry.
after you,
I was
man.
going to say, as a marketing professional in K-12, I need to know, how do you market those items to students?
Well, I'm on social media quite a bit, and I go around and I talk to the kids and those type things, and I get kids to help us. So we talk to the football team and baseball and girls cheerleading and different things like that, and we get the kids excited about what we're doing.
Cool. All right, so enough about food because I'm getting hungry now. Let's talk about furniture.
Yeah.
So James, what was it like working with Scott and helping him pick out the right furniture for his space? 'Cause I know you guys don't just say you should buy product A, B, C, and D and just throw it in there. You guys actually take time and almost research, and you're very specific on why you choose the pieces that you guys choose. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's very easy working with Scott. He's very resourceful. He already knew what he wanted. He already did a little research on us before we even reached out to him. And we came down there, brought a bunch of furniture down there. And the dining commons is such a fun space because it's different from the rest of the school. Like, they want to bring these students in. They want participation to go up. And even Scott, he goes, have fun with it. Do whatever you want. We'll talk to the principals, put in, what they want. And then obviously you guys give them examples and to help them choose. And what we really kind of picture at AmTab is, like, we don't want, I love Chick-fil-A, but every time I go there, it's the same thing over and over and over, and you want to switch it up here and there. So what we thought on our side was mix and match the tables as much as possible. We want to give these students a feel and to go to the high top tables, the cafe bistro tables, or they can go to our standard A-frame tables, stools, benches. So we'd like to mix it up as much as possible to get them to feel like they can go somewhere else and do their studying, because it's meant for more than just the food and everything else. Yeah. A lot of people go in there for conventions and things like that.
So you said increased participation.
Yes.
How much of an increase is it in participation on average?
Ballpark 15 to 25%. It depends. Obviously, Scott did a great job in his area, I'm sure, and he already does a great job where his participation's up. But hopefully, this helped you out.
It did. I mean, the kids were really excited to come in, and they talked about it. They were calling each other, and the parents got excited. So it did increase our participation, and it hasn't dropped off. It's it stayed there.
It sounds like you created not just a place to eat, but an experience for the students.
Yes. So a lot of our interactions revolve food. So, you know, you got friends over, you're eating food. You see family, you're eating food. So they're at school. So it's creating the environment that they come in, they want to socialize with their friends, and they want to eat food. And we've got great tables.
Did you get any feedback from the students as far as what they thought about the new furniture?
We did. So we actually talked to the students, found out what pieces they liked the most, and we're adding a few more of those pieces into some of the schools where we have a little more room.
Fletcher High, a school in Florida, saw a 25% increase in participation when they modernized their food court using AmTab. The school space went from bland and dull to bright and vibrant. They added a mix of new table options that gave the students the ability to change up where they sat on a daily basis, and on top of that, they added in signage and wall graphics that help create more school pride. Students say they feel more valued when districts build food courts like Fletcher High, and their programs put their happiness and joy at the forefront. So Eve, what's the design process like working with a director like Scott?
It's so easy. Like basically any information that we could possibly ask for that, you know, maybe we are lacking from other schools or they just don't know, Scott had everything. And anytime we needed to call him, anytime email, we got a response like immediately so that we can just pivot, change the design, make sure that it was exactly what he wanted.
Okay. So walk me through the entire process, James, and you guys can all pitch in. So you and Scott meet, and then what happens? Like all the way from like first interaction to furniture being delivered. From what I've heard from other districts is it's an extremely streamlined, efficient process. You guys move as fast as the district wants to move. So let's kind of go through that experience.
Yeah. And that's not just us and Scott, it's thanks to our dealers too. We got a lot of local dealers that come and really ask the school what they want. Obviously Scott and I have a great relationship, that's what makes this job worth it. Even through the ups and downs, it takes a lot of, especially with the supply chain and COVID going on right now, it takes a lot of trust, but I think that's what made our partnership.
On both sides.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what made our partnership even stronger. It's kind of like you're an athlete and you go through hell with your teammates, and then after it's done, you're like, all right, well, it's kind of closer. We can get through anything together.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been kind of going through. And so it starts off with, you know, talking with Scott, working with our dealers, and then going into the manufacturing side. We go to the design team, pick out all the options, and they do a great job. They don't need CADs. Even if we don't have all the right options, they'll make it work. And then once we go into that and the school knows what they want, we go into the operations and the production side. And that's the process where we keep in touch with them, ask them what they want. Scott does a great job. And we also come up with ideas like, Scott, you've had a few things where you're like, hey, I want to add this and this and this, because we know what it's becoming now. We've done a few schools and we want to adapt and do this for the next schools. And
So you guys have so many options. I remember sitting in your offices at the design table with both of you.
Yeah.
So walk me through that process and how you guys choose the colors and what type of materials and all that.
Well, most of the time we start off with the information that James gets, the sales guys, or you know what our dealers get us. We kind of go from there. We figure out, okay, where are we trying to go with it? So do they want to do more of the traditional, just rectangular, or do we want to go more for like, you know, what's up and coming right now, which is like the Starbucks feel, the really, really nice like wood look, stuff like that. Once we know kind of what furniture types we want to add in, we make sure we're hitting the seating count, because I know schools are growing, so they want to fit more students into a pretty small space. We'll go from, you know, layout to finishes. Usually each designer has a different thing in mind. So, you know, what finishes I pick out are different than the ones that, you know, my coworker Megan would pick out. And so that way you get a different design every single time. So we'll be standing in there for like, you know, 10, 15 minutes trying to figure out what would be the perfect mix to match the school colors, have the really good mix of, you know, pops of colors, or if they want to go really, really big with school pride, those are the most fun. We can pick out those like really, really bright colors that you're, you know, in design you don't get to use a lot because it's too much for like, you know, adults a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But once we pick out finishes, we put them on the tables, adjust as needed, and we shoot it off to make sure it looks good.
Did you know that AmTab has over 70 unique color options when designing your cafeteria? At AmTab, they are proud to say they have the most color options in the industry. You want a blue table with a gold edge? Easy. Interested in an aqua teal tabletop with a black edge? They've got you covered.
You mentioned a little bit about what's up and coming, and it's that Starbucks kind of coffee shop cafe feel. How do you know what's up and coming? Or is your whole team just out there doing a little bit of marketing research, or how does that work? And what is the most innovative thing that you've seen so far?
A lot of the times, like I'm on social media, I go on LinkedIn. Sometimes the schools will come to us and say, well, all the kids are going to McDonald's, they're going to all these big places, and we can't compete because we don't look like them. It's not comfortable. So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm talking to the dealers, school nutritionists, and I just kind of delegate to the team. I'll shoot them an email every so often if I have time to do the research and say, hey, this is what's up and coming, let's match it. And our team is young people, so a lot of the time they're fresh out of college. They've been in the really, really cool spaces, the really Big Ten college feel, and then they come and they see the schools and they're like, man, we can make this so much cooler. So you have that new information coming in all the time.
So what you're saying is you have a young team of professionals that can easily relate to students in high school, middle, and elementary, and college too.
Yep.
A lot of them come in and they're like, I want to change. What I had was just a brown table. I want to make it cool. I want to make it cool so that other people can experience what I never got to experience. So they come in there, they're bright-eyed, they're like, I want to make it so cool. And it translates because we get some really, really awesome designs from them, stuff that, I never thought about. I'm only a couple of years older, and there's some really cool ideas they come up with.
Yeah, a lot of it is on the field. Going to these schools. Scott and I are working on a condiment cabinet that one of his coworkers asked us. He was like, we want it this way. She was like, we want cabinets coming out of it, so we're in the process of prototyping it. And that's what a lot of our recent projects and products have come from, is from the end users asking what they want specifically to hone in on them.
So rattle off some products that you guys currently have and why they would be beneficial in a restaurant space or cafeteria
Sure.
space.
A lot of the K through 12 is collaborating now. That's a big word, conversation, getting everyone to collaborate, and it's going into that. So we have a collaboration table where everyone could group up in a section of 4. We have a conversation table that could go up to an 8-seater for different projects or eating together. So those are the two new ones that we have. We have meeting rooms that we've also put in libraries that kind of makes it more private, where you can get stuff done. So.
How about everything going virtual now? The importance to be able to sit in the cafeteria and plug in and charge. I know I've seen those in your showroom.
Yeah,
That's
the
pretty
buttons.
impressive.
Yes, so those ones, it's all charging stations. Not many people carry on books anymore, like we did when we were at our backpacks. Now we do have backpack hooks, but now they have laptops. They just bring that around. They can get all their information done on that. So we made sure to introduce ports into there. We're actually coming out with self-charging ports. You don't have to plug it in. It's just going to be self-charging. Make it a little easier for the kids, because everything, that's all it's built around.
Hold on a second. You're talking like the magnetic charging?
Take it out. It's kind of, you can take it out, go charge it, put a new battery in.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
That's pretty neat. And you guys, I've been told by someone on your team that you're working on some sort of like gaming table, desk.
That's all Eve. That's all Eve.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at gaming, but.
Yeah, we came out with an esports desk. That was kind of a random brainchild that I had that I, told somebody at the time, somehow got to Steve, and Steve's like, do it. Create what you want.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we have that coming soon.
I'm still waiting to be able to order mine, just so you know.
It's on the waiting list.
Yeah, it's on the waiting list. Yeah, but one thing I do have to say though is I'm a huge fan of you guys, because I feel like there's so much passion that you guys put in your work. And like this was Steve saying, oh hey, if you want to make an esport desk, go for it, right? And even it's all like your designs and your furniture just ooze passion, and I absolutely love it.
And the team knows it's going to make us more passionate if they let us do kind of what we feel and what we want. It'll just make us work that much harder. So.
Yeah. So how big is your team?
Depending, obviously, we have our office in the same exact spot as our warehouse. We have a 320,000 square foot facility. So ballpark within the office is around 50 and growing. And then obviously with the warehouse and everything, ballpark around 200, 250.
Man, so how big is the design team?
Design team has about like 10 people right now. I know we'll be hiring much more. Hopefully, maybe we'll be doubling by the end of next year or so.
Yeah.
But we need all those fresh ideas.
That's really nice that your team's a little bit on the smaller side, because I know when I was an operator, it was so nice to call up and actually speak to somebody about any ideas that I had or anything concerning the design. So I'm sure districts love that. You must have
Yeah.
loved working
Yeah.
with AmTab for that reason.
Yeah, it's very nice to be able to call up and make changes because I'm working with the principals to make sure it's acceptable to them, and I'm talking to kids. So being able to know who you're talking to and getting that same person each time to help you with the design is helpful.
So wait, you were an operator, Bree. Did you guys use AmTab
I
at your
did use
district?
AmTab. We did one high school, and I mean, this high school had never been touched since, I mean, it was an old high school, maybe
Before
one of
you
the
were born?
first. Yeah, yeah,
It's because you're like
definitely.
15.
I'm 28. Anyway, yes, we did a complete overhaul, and my biggest thing was I want this to scream this particular school's brand, and you did such a nice job, and you brought in like the wood look garage doors, and the kids loved it. Participation jumped, and we got nothing but great feedback.
You guys do garage doors too?
Yeah, I'm in the,
What don't you guys do?
they're in the process of building my man cave. So.
Oh, that is awesome. That is cool. So Scott, like, walk me through the look of your new cafeterias.
Okay, so we've done 10 so far. We have 7 that we're doing. Each one is a little different. So it's that personality that you talked about of the school. So we've got the school colors, we've got different logos on there. Some went with benches, some went with conversation tables, different things like that. So what I wanted the schools to do is not go back traditional. And I had to really fight that with principals and teachers and stuff. They just wanted that traditional look. But once they saw what they could do, when AmTab brought in some tables and said, look, we can do this, they were on board. And so when you walk in, it doesn't look like a cafeteria. It looks like a restaurant, and that's what I want. So it's got about everything you can think of. We mixed and matched for all the schools.
And what's the benefit to using, say, a bench versus a conversational table? So I think there's like some stat out there as far as you can increase the capacity in the cafeteria by using a bench or a booth, or what is it?
Usually when you do bench seating, high school students, any students, will cram as many as they can
And they do.
onto a bench, onto a seat. You know, they'll sit on each other's laps a lot of times, but most of the time with benches, you can add, 2 to 3 more students. Same thing with booths, they'll squish themselves in there. So it increases the number of students per item versus a stool seat, you can only really have half your butt on the seat, and the students are uncomfortable that way.
And again, I think it creates that restaurant feel.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in conversations with directors, and I was listening I forgot who they were talking to, but there were 2 directors arguing about how you can fit more students in the cafeteria, whether it was a bench booth or like the individual seating. It was interesting to hear them go back and forth on that.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
always interesting because some elementary schools prefer the individual seats because you can tell them, okay, 1 butt per seat, but then they want to cram in. They want to be
Schools
next to
are
their friends.
afraid to experiment. They're
Yep.
afraid. They're afraid to put in the benches. I don't know if it's they don't want the kids to interact. And I've been in education for 30 years, but the older generation is afraid of change.
Did you start off as a principal?
I did. So
Okay.
I started off as a teacher. So I
Oh.
did teacher for 12 years or so, and I did 10 years as a principal, and this is my 8th year as food service director. So I'm bringing my knowledge of what I know in schools into the cafeteria. And
So I know Scott is an outlier because he's already innovative and creative, right? But do you guys find it challenging to encourage districts to be more innovative and take chances, and how do you overcome that?
Yes, until they do. So it's people like Scott who's actually in their position to kind of break that trust barrier, where, a lot of it does them good, and they don't really, it could be just me saying that it does them good, but when Scott comes in, it's like, hey, this is a great return on your investment. You'll increase participation. It may be expensive in the beginning, but by the time you purchase it, there's going to be more student participation, you're going to get more income. And even the tables themselves, they may be a little more pricier, but we got a warranty for 15 years. Anything that breaks will return, rather than going on the lower side and things breaking and they have to keep constantly buying new things. So,
And what does AmTab stand for?
American tables.
All built here in America,
All
right?
built here in the, yep, absolutely.
Awesome.
Besides the nuts and bolts, unfortunately, nobody really manufactures those in America, but we'll get there. We'll
Yeah,
get
one
there.
day. I mean, you guys could probably make that too, right? No big deal. I mean, you guys make all sorts
In-house.
of cool stuff. Yeah.
Make anything. And going back to Marlon, what you said about change and having difficult, districts being difficult about change. At the school I was referring to, we had a big trophy case, and the principal did not want
right.
it to be taken down. I mean, it was old. It had blinds in it. Like,
Yep.
it was old. It was,
Really?
yeah, it had blinds, and And AmTab gave it a facelift without completely removing it. They were able to somehow make the cafeteria look brand new, but still keep that charm that the school was proud of.
Yeah.
Sure.
And you guys do decor also, right?
We do all in-house now, so that makes it very easy, especially with all the supply chain issues going on. Let us know. We'll obviously, our designers do a great job, and then we just crank it out and get it out to them.
And your designers, you guys can make things custom. You can take a school logo. It's pretty much like whatever Scott wants, like you can make it for him, right?
Yeah, a lot of the times now we'll ask schools, we're like, hey, is there anything that you've seen out there that you'd like us to incorporate? And sometimes they'll send us graphics that they've seen, like, randomly, or they'll go on a Google or Pinterest search and they'll send us to it. Our graphic design team can just copy it, or make it the school's version of that, and then you see exactly what you want to see.
Neat. So what are some of your favorite projects you guys have worked on, aside from Scott? 'Cause I know Scott was awesome, but anybody else out there?
There's just been so many. I mean, I got out of projects a little while ago because I'm mostly managing the team, but the ones that I see from my team just keep getting better and better. Like, I think we had Penfield is a really big one where we were allowed to do anything that we could possibly imagine. They're like, yeah, change the wheel colors, change this, change that, and they bought it all.
We actually just drove down from Jacksonville. We got a lot of projects going on over there, and it's nice to bring Eve, because I get to see all the before and afters. I get to see what it looks like, and then what they designed, I get to see it come to life. It's nice to have Eve coming down, and it definitely brings a lotot of appreciation.
Where was my invite? I wanted to go. I could have went. I'm right
you're
down
always
the street.
more than welcome.
Right down the street. So, Scott, so I know different districts they're set up differently in terms of like child nutrition and the admin teams, right?
Yes.
Like in some districts, the food nutrition department, they call the shots in the cafeteria. In some districts, the principals call the shot.
Yeah.
How is your district set up? Do the principals kind of have an influence on what you decide to do in the cafeteria?
Sure. So before I became food service director, the principals ran the show.
Okay.
When I came in, I asked to be able to have control over the cafeteria. Now, I work with the principals, so I came up with the initial design and idea. I took it to the principal and James and others and said, what would you like? What do you not like? What would you change? I didn't let them tone it down too much because, again, some schools would go, I just want the same tables in there. But once they saw what they could really do, and they saw the design and how it was going to make their cafeteria look, they were all on board.
Okay, so let's say I'm a food service director and Bree's a principal at the school that I want to enhance the cafeteria space.
Sure.
What would your advice be to me in approaching, and this is for all of you guys, in approaching Bree to say, hey, this is what I want to do, and if she's combative, how do I get over that?
Sure. So I would get examples. I would find schools out there that are using the tables, the designs that you want. I would bring a little research, how much participation is going to go up. Some of the reasons why the principals are worried about noise, kids getting up and moving around. They're worried about things breaking. They're worried about fire alarm, how do kids exit. So once you solve and know what the principals want, custodians are worried about, are they easy to lift? Am I going to have to move stuff?
Yeah.
So once you know what the principal, custodians, what their concerns are, you can put them at ease and say, look, these tables are really easy to lift. They're easy to move out of the cafeteria, easy to clean, take care of the principal's wants and needs, and you should be able to hook them.
Okay. And you said that you actually went to Scott's district and you brought furniture?
Yes, this was before. This was when we were in the first steps too,
Yeah.
because it does help. It makes them, you're able to see it and you're like, okay, maybe we could use this. And that was one of the greatest things was we were talking to each other and we see a few students walking in and out and their eyes like lit up. They're like, is this for us? Like, are these coming in? And we're like,
Yeah.
no, we're specifically giving it your colors, your logos, everything like that. It'll be a little different. So
That's really cool.
Were principals there too to check out the furniture?
Yeah, so I brought in 3 companies. So I looked around, didn't just immediately go with AmTab. I was looking for quality. You can go cheap, and a lot of schools want to go cheap, and you can go cheap out there, but I wanted quality. I wanted the look. I knew what I wanted in the cafeteria. So I brought my principals in, I brought central office staff in, and then I had these 3 companies come and present to us. And
At the same time? Or
no,
different
I
days?
gave them 2-hour slots.
Yeah.
And so the first company came in. AmTab actually went in the middle, so they were the second company coming in. And the funny thing is, when the third company came in, they looked at the furniture and said, if I were you, I'd buy AmTab,
Wow.
which I thought was very impressive. But we took a week and looked at all 3 companies and decided that the quality, they're American made, the quality, the look, the durability, the relationship, and the feedback that we felt talking to the company, we felt AmTab was the way to go.
I'm pretty sure you guys made the right decision.
I think so too. We're very pleased.
That's good. So what do some of your neighboring districts think about your cafeteria space now?
The neighboring districts are asking us to who we use.
Yeah.
We actually have a district that almost touches us that's going with AmTab, and there's several around that have come and looked, and we've been a showcase for lots of people in Kentucky, and even had a few out of state that want to come and look.
Sounds
Wow.
like you might need to open a second showroom.
Scott's
in
keeping us
Texas.
busy.
That's good.
Yeah, so.
That is good. So what's next for you, Scott? I mean, you said you're doing more cafeterias. Are you doing
We have
elementaries, middle, highs?
Well, we have 7 more cafeterias, 1 more high school, 2 middle schools, the rest are elementary. That will complete the entire district. So we will have all, we did a school before and we didn't use AmTab, and we're sorry that we didn't, but that'll get all 18 of our schools will be completed with brand new tables. And then we're talking about outside furniture.
Oh, you guys do outside furniture too?
Looking to expand, they don't.
We're getting there.
They're getting there. But I want to expand the cafeteria, give kids some, you talk about COVID, you talk about getting kids out in fresh air. So I want to move some of our cafeterias to the outside, and we have some spaces, and I want to design some tables and things to put out there. Then who knows where we'll go from there.
So did I just hear that a district had a need and you guys are taking the steps in the direction to meet those needs?
Yeah, that's the best thing with manufacturing everything in-house is we could kind of customize. You don't have to go straight off of a catalog that we have. If they want something different, we'll make it work. And it's definitely worth it. It'll put in a little more effort, but it's definitely worth it because it means a lot to us, too, that they're actually reaching out to us and asking us for other things. It helps us grow. So.
Yeah, and I mean, if Scott needs it, if Scott wants it, there's got to be other districts out there that need and want it too. So why
Sure.
not just make it?
Yes, yeah, definitely.
You guys are great.
Top-notch
Thank
customer
you.
service.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, so let's talk about customer service. Like, let's say, Scott wants to reach out to customer service. How does he do that? Who picks up the phone? Is it email? Do you guys text? Like,
We do have a client service team.
Okay.
They do a great job. I love Paul. Paul, he does everything. He works. He comes in early, leaves late. But a lot of different things too. I know our partnership side, they could come directly to us. But sometimes, some people don't mesh. Like if Scott hated my guts and I'm the Southeast Territory, that's fine. We have other people in our company that you get along with. Connor, all our other partnerships reps that do a great job. And
shout out to Connor.
we can mix and match it. Shout out to Connor, definitely.
Connor on speed dial. He's great. I mean, has the best customer service.
So easy.
He responds to texts for me right away, even if he's in Brazil. It's great. I love it.
He's in Brazil, yep.
Time zones don't matter with Connor.
No, they don't. He loves what he does, so it makes it easy.
Yeah, he's so good at it too. And like so what does Connor do for
So-
someone that's not familiar with him?
Connor does our marketing. He's the reason kind of we got started with you all and even Scott. He just reaches out. He shares all the things that we bring in. And all the other schools get to see what's really going on with AmTab and all the other school districts around. So
AmTab really does set the bar high. I have a story about Connor. During COVID, Connor Doyle, who I had never met, sent me an email and says, "Hey, Bree, I'm going to send your districts who are doing curbside today Krispy Kremes." And that really just put AmTab in a special place in my heart. That was so nice of you guys. And just the relationships that we've built and that you guys built with districts all across the country, it's powerful.
it does.
It's
Yeah.
a good job.
Yeah, it makes it feel like less work and more fun, which
More
is
like a
nice.
friendship,
So,
yeah.
It really is. And since we're on Next Up, and I can keep it real here, I remember our first conversation, and a company connected me with you guys. You gave me a call one day, and I didn't know AmTab. I've only heard of AmTab from maybe some of the competitors out there.
Sure.
And I was like, oh gosh, what do these guys want? Like, I didn't really want to talk to you. I did, but I didn't.
Nobody wants to talk to you.
And from the first 10 seconds on the phone with you guys, I was like, these are some real good people. And ever since then, that was what, 2 years ago, I think, something like that. But it's been an absolute pleasure and a blessing working with you guys. Your whole team's awesome, your product's awesome, your customers love you. It's just been a really good partnership, and I'm thankful to call you guys partners and friends.
Well, thank you. It starts from the top. Good family-owned business. They're great people. We can trust them, and it just starts building itself down. So.
Yeah, so briefly touch on that, because there is a pretty interesting origin story with AmTab. So who started it and what happened after it began?
Mr. Sammy Canoe, so Doss Sammy Canoe, he bought AmTab in 2005. Before that, he came over, he was 18 years old, and he worked on the docks at Midwest Folding and worked up Midwest Folding. And when they got bought out, he switched over, and he was doing his own thing for a little while, and he was just like, I love making tables, I love manufacturing. He's an engineer, he's a brilliant mind.
Yeah.
And he came over to AmTab and started building it up from there and raised some great children. Steve is the general manager there now and has just really brought everything, all the new ideas in. We got Doss still there coming in every single day. Jason doing the production side, Doss's son, and they all coordinate really well together, and they really bring on the habits to us. They make sure we do those habits like the way they do it. So.
Yeah, I feel like AmTab, like the story of AmTab is like the American dream come true.
It is.
It really is. So unfortunately time is running out, but let's go down the line real quick. So Scott, tell everybody why they should be considering AmTab for enhancing their dining spaces or any space in their schools.
Sure. Well, I've touched on the quality, but you want to bring fun, excitement, and memories. Kids go into school, they build memories, and you want them to look back and say, some of my best times were in the cafeteria eating at a booth.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd go AmTab.
AmTab's making memories every day.
Yeah, making memories.
James, why do you love your job?
Like we talked about earlier too, the partnerships that we make internally and externally. It makes it really fun, especially internally, that we all get to work close to each other. We start seeing AmTab grow, and it starts to become almost like your baby. You're like, hey, I've seen this grow from start to finish, and it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Eve, what do you love most about designing furniture for students? You got a more difficult question, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Probably, I think that it's impactful. You get to see what you've created and see it on the students' faces when when Scott posts something, you can see how excited they are about it, and it's so much of an impact of what I wish I had in school, I can give to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's really great.
So speaking about posting real quick, Scott, where can we find your posts? And then Eve, where can we find your posts?
Sure. So I've got Madison County Food Service on Facebook. I also have Scott Anderson. I'm in a green chef jacket. Follow both of those. I have a couple other social media things, but I don't use them very often. So those are the two places to follow me on.
All right.
Yeah, all of my stuff's on LinkedIn. Most of it's AmTab because I'm proud of all the stuff that I've designed or what my designers have.
Okay. I have a bonus question now for Bree. So you were an operator and you worked in marketing.
Yeah.
As a marketer in the school district, what are the benefits of choosing a company like AmTab?
Oh, just having all of the options to really get your brand out there. So AmTab can make anything that you want, and having the brand consistency throughout the cafeteria just gets your brand in front of the students, gives food service a face and a name that's recognizable to students.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the show. And I'm hoping to see you guys again very soon. And everybody out there watching, thank you. And this has been an episode of Next Up Premiere.